Hey Globku, do you think you can make a video on how to get out of the corner? I sure can. That is a very good topic. Welcome to this week's episode of Tutorials. Today's lesson is all about escaping that dreaded corner. And if you have anything you'd like to learn in future videos, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. Also, look at other people's comments because your idea might already be there and just give it a thumbs up. It's a lot easier for me to go through and see, hey, a lot of people want this thing if it has a lot of thumbs up and it's on the top comments. In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 methods to get out of the corner. They all have their advantages and their disadvantages, but they all share a few of the same principles. And the first one they all share is do not panic. To get out of the corner, you're gonna need to find an opening in a block string, and depending on how big that opening is, you may take different routes. But to find an opening, first you need to remain calm and just block. Let's use this basic block string with Goku as an example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ki Blast, Kamehameha. So you can just block the whole thing while crouching, and you can try to find an opening. After the Kamehameha, there is a big enough opening that you can initiate a combo. Though most players with Goku will probably call for an assist or Vanish after that. Which if they time the assist right, you pretty much just have to keep blocking or use other methods that don't require as big of a gap. And yes, I guess if every gap was as big as this one after the Kamehameha, you wouldn't be watching this video looking for ways to get out of the corner because it would be actually very easy. A lot of people will try to counter with a down heavy as soon as they find an opening because that is immune to all aerial attacks, including instant air dashes. But again, you need a pretty big opening to do that. Either way, you're gonna need a good defense to escape the corner. Stay in there for a bit, just take your time. Here are a few quick tips to survive the corner. First, always block low, because if the opponent attacks low, this is hard to react to. This is very hard to react to, but if they leave the ground for an overhead attack, you can react to that. As soon as they leave the ground, you can just stand up and block high. So general tip, always be blocking low until you see the opponent leaving the ground, at which point you react and stand up. And then find the pause, find the opening, find the frames where you can react. Here's a good method for finding a gap. If we go back to the Goku block string, I'm gonna start blocking, and now I'm just gonna mash light attack. I got hit there. If you look at my controller, I only block in the beginning. I block low, and then as long as I hold the down button, I'm just blocking everything automatically, because I'm in a true block string with no gaps. Until the Kamehameha, which has a tiny gap that is not big enough for me to react with a light attack, but is big enough for other options. That is a gap right there. So how do you use that gap to your advantage? Let's talk about the 7 different methods to get out of the corner. First method, the Vanish. You don't need a very big opening to use the Vanish, but something as small as this one from the Goku block string that goes from the Ki Blast to the Kamehameha. This will reverse your roles, it will kick the opponent, put them in the corner, and if you call for an assist afterwards, that means you can then initiate your own pressure. This is probably one of the most popular methods for getting out of the corner, especially at low levels, but I personally wouldn't recommend abusing it too much. And the reason for that is if you become predictable, the Vanish can easily be countered by a down heavy. And in some situations, hey, that's cool, you left the corner, right? Even if you got hit by a combo. But from a down heavy, you're gonna get hit by some pretty heavy damage, plus you just spent a bar only to get hit in the face by your opponent. But don't forget, if your opponent can counter you, you can also counter your opponent, so if you see someone vanishing out of a corner, make sure to down heavy their ass. At low levels especially, after you vanish out of a corner, the opponent will also react with a vanish, so make sure you punish them if they are that predictable. Our second method is the raw level 3. This is a very good choice if the opponent is just relentless. If they're going for pressure, just attacking and attacking and attacking without pause. The smallest of openings will be enough for you to pull off a level 3. Because in most cases, when you do the level 3, your characters are completely immune. So that small gap in Goku's block string is enough for you to pull off a level 3. When I'm in the corner, I usually like to do a raw level 3 when the opponent goes in for an instant air dash, because very few players don't hit the button after the instant air dash. They're going for pressure, they're going for that overhead. So the invulnerability from my level 3 super is gonna go through their attack and hit them instead. But of course you could be baited into doing this. The opponent could just be doing an instant air dash, an empty instant air dash, not press any attack buttons, block your level 3, and if your level 3 is blocked, then you're in for some serious punishment. So yeah, make sure you use it only when you know that players are going to attack, when they are being absolutely relentless. Don't be predictable with this move because they can bait your level 3, and at that point you've spent the 3 bars and you were punished for that. Number 3, Sparking Blast. Now the downside of Sparking Blast is obvious. You can only use 1 Sparking Blast per match. But if you really want to save a character, don't be afraid to use Sparking Blast. Even if you're still on your first character, if you think that is essential for you to win a match, go ahead and use it. It happens in tournaments all the time. If the opponent is attacking, they'll get knocked away from you. If they are blocking, you'll still put a little distance between you two. And that is enough for you to reverse the role sometimes. If the opponent is close to you, they will not be able to punish you for using Sparking Blast. The only situation where they're able to punish you for using Sparking is if they are not right against you. If they are out of range of your Sparking, they can take advantage of that. Also, mashing Sparking Blast on Wake Up can be dangerous. Coming from a hard knockdown, the opponent can easily catch you before you activate your Sparking. And in a slide knockdown, it can be tricky, but it can also be done. So my recommendation is get up, start blocking, find the opening, and Sparking Blast. Next method, the guard cancel. When you're blocking, hold forward and an assist button to perform a guard cancel. Time will basically freeze and one of your assist characters will come flying in. If you're out of assist, this ability is even better for getting you out of the corner, because your character will basically vanish and hit the opponent from behind. And this is not the same as the regular Vanish. Time will freeze for a little bit and you will just hit your opponent. This is very, very safe. So if you're down to your last character, this is one of your best options to get out of the corner. As long as you're blocking, you can just pull this off very safely. I mean, some supers can actually punish you from doing this, but not only is it character specific, your opponent would need some insane reactions to actually pull it off. Now, while you have teammates, you need to be a little bit more careful about when you guard cancel, because if you do it at the wrong time, your character coming in might just get caught in the combo anyway. An example of that is doing it before a heavy attack. If I wait for Goku to do light, light, medium, medium, and now tag in, I'm gonna get hit by the heavy attack. On the other hand, if I wait for his heavy attack, light, light, medium, medium, heavy, tag in, Frieza is gonna fly right through the Ki Blast. So it's important to predict what your opponent's block string is gonna be like, so you can tag in a character safely without them getting caught in the combo as well. Usually, as a general rule of thumb, when I cannot predict what my opponent's block string is gonna be like, what I like to do is do it very early while they're still throwing light and medium attacks. More often than not, it will work, your character will come in safely, but even if they get caught in a medium attack, usually players are not fast enough at reacting to convert that hit into a full combo. But beware, because unlike when you're doing this guard cancel solo, if you guard cancel into another character and the opponent blocks, you are vulnerable for a very long time. This isn't the same as the normal super dash. If your character comes in and the opponent blocks, he has time to down a heavy after the block before he can even do anything. So it's really, really punishable if you just do this randomly. It's a great tool if you can predict your enemy's block string, but if you cannot, it can be dangerous. Next, let's talk about Reflect, and Reflect is about finding an opening in the block string. The smallest gap is enough to reflect and reverse the tides. Let's go back to the Goku block string. After that Ki Blast, there was a little opening in which we can just hit back and the special button to do a reflect. Now, why reflect and not simply block? Well, if I block and then attack, it's gonna take a long time for 18 to do that, but if I reflect, I'm gonna be able to attack a lot sooner. And that sometimes is the difference between initiating a combo or initiating a block string. Now, a lot of players will just smash reflect in a block string sort of situation, and that's fine. Like, if Goku starts his block string, I'm just mashing reflect, and it's gonna come off. But if you do that, please be ready for when the reflect happens, because you can usually go from a reflect into a combo. So take that opportunity. I'm gonna try to mash as hard as I can and then react as soon as the reflect happens. Takes a really long time. So yeah, that's an argument for not mashing reflect, I guess. Also, reflect isn't perfectly safe. Opponents that like to have sort of a delay type mix-ups to delay their inputs enough, they will catch you for trying to spam reflect. Reflect can be baited out of you. If the opponent stops their block string and you just reflect the empty air, they will be able to punish you for that. Also, just because there's an opening in a block string doesn't mean it's safe to use reflect. Assists, for instance, can cover those small gaps and punish you for trying to use reflect. And these are basically just some some great arguments for not mashing Reflect. It can be baited, you can be punished for it, and if you mash too much, you can't really follow up with any attacks. So don't mash it. Know the gaps in block strings, use it wisely there, and counter your opponent, because only then will it be a really, really great tool. Next, the DP. Some characters have a DP. Now, what's a DP? It's a term that comes from Street Fighter. It means Dragon Punch. It's a move that has an invulnerable startup. And in Dragon Ball FighterZ, a few characters also have some moves like this. Vegeta's knee, Adult Gohan's or Teen Gohan's uppercut are a few examples. And these moves make these characters really, really strong because they get an extra option while blocking, which can be especially useful while in the corner. The trick is timing it right. You technically don't need a big gap to pull it off if you're a robot, because you do have to input a quarter circle motion, and that's gonna take some time if you're a human. Still, if you pull it off, even if the opponent is attacking you, the invulnerable startup is gonna reverse the roles. So keep it in mind not only when playing with characters that have a DP, but also when playing against characters that have a DP, because you can bait it out. If they use DP a lot, you can just like go into an empty air dash, so you block their DP and then counter from there. And finally, the seventh method is the Dragon Rush tech. When the opponent Dragon Rushes, tech it. Obvious, right? Well, the reason why I mention it, it's because it's easy to just focus on finding the opening, on finding that move that you're trying to react to. You're trying to use the Vanish, you're trying to use the guard cancel, so you're looking for a specific thing, and that's when we get what we call tunnel vision, because you're looking for a specific thing and you forget the Dragon Rush is also a possibility. So I want you to keep Dragon Rush in mind when you're in the corner. There's a reason why I call this 7 methods and not only 6. I want you to give Dragon Rush the same importance as you give every other tool, because if you don't, you're gonna forget that it's a thing and you're gonna get caught in Dragon Rush all the time. Now, teching a Dragon Rush doesn't really take you out of the corner, but it relieves some of the pressure, and a little breather is sometimes really all that you need. And there you go, folks. 7 methods in total to get out of the corner. Some are better than others. It all depends on the situation, but if you're ever stuck in a corner, and hey, if you lose a match because you were stuck in a corner for a long time, go watch the replay and think about these 7 methods. What could you have used to reverse the roles? Fight that weakness, and that's how you improve yourself. Let me know how that goes for you, and also let me know what you would like to see covered next week. Leave it in the comments down below. Last time around, we talked about Sparking Blast. It has a lot of properties that people are just not utilizing. Its full potential, it's not realized yet. Check out that video right here. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also the video at the bottom, but as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Boy.